Hey, Shaquille Majuri here for MMA Mania with Cory Sandhagen, fighting Raphael Assuncao this Saturday, UFC 241. How's it going, man?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Good. I'm digging the polo shirt.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice touch. I can't rock them. I always get them for Christmas, and they just don't work for me.
I look like a kid going back to school, I know, but I'm okay with that.
It's a lot of less assuming when you get in there and mess someone up, right?
Yeah.
So I know you're talking to Mike Heck from BJ Penn. Have you gone to Disneyland yet, or is that the plan after the fight?
The plan is to go to Disneyland on Monday. I wanted to go before, but I think that would be a little bit too tiring. I hear that the place is huge.
It's a full day commitment.
Yeah, and I don't think I could deal with too many children being around me right now, so.
Yeah, there's a video actually I saw like a month ago, and it was this whole family, and they all just started wailing on each other. It was the craziest thing. It was like and then someone threw a rear naked choke on someone. It was madness. I was scrolling through your Instagram, and I saw that you got your face on one of those Topps trading cards. What was that like? Because I know trading cards aren't as big as they used to be in the 80s and such, but that must have been a cool feeling to see yourself on a card.
Yeah, that was a cool feeling. I'm a bit different, I guess, in the way that I see these accolades. I don't really see the accolades as, I don't get too excited about the accolades. For me, it's about, as cheesy as it sounds, the journey, the showing up every day to practice, spending time with my teammates, spending time with my coaches, and developing those relationships, and obviously becoming a better fighter too. But for me, man, that's like the important part. Like all of those other things I've never really gotten super excited about. But my parents were pretty pumped to have that card.
Speaking of that journey, how do you describe that to people? Because the life of an MMA fighter is a very strict one. And what's beautiful about it is it gives you that sort of structure that a lot of people often don't know that they want in their life. But with something that you have to dedicate your whole life to, how do you stop it from going overboard? How do you still make time for your loved ones and things outside of your career?
Yeah, very hard. It's a tricky balance. For me, my favorite aspect of fighting and preparing for fights is this constant revisiting of conquering the egos that I have inside of myself. So I'm one of those believers in that, like, you can't completely be a person until you've kind of like faced all of your egos and made friends with them, or asked them to leave, or beat them up, or whatever you got to do to get rid of those ones that are inside of there. So for me, like, that's like the most enjoyable part about this. Every fight I go into, and the bigger they get, the bigger the ego, the bigger I got to face inside of that, and I'm just constantly learning stuff about myself and the spirit, and that's really one of the more enjoyable parts for me.
Now, speaking of that big next fight, you're taking on Raphael Assuncao, long-time perennial contender who unfortunately sometimes, due like to that Marlon Moraes fight, a loss, but often just matchmaking, never got that title shot they needed. How did it feel to receive this offer that you were going to fight someone who very well could propel you into the title picture?
Yeah, obviously super excited. He's a really tough opponent. He's not really the guy that you go into a fight and are like, wow, this is going to be a super amazing, exciting fight. You know, it's just not that type of fight. But it is a fight that brings a lot of like interesting challenges, as far as like the guy is just so good at winning. Like the guy is just, he knows how to play the game at a very, very high level. And I'm not talking about like he's a great wrestler, he's a great striker, he's a great jiu-jitsu guy. The guy just knows when he needs to do certain things in order to win rounds. So that's what I'm preparing for most. But obviously very, very excited. I know that if I get this win, that's a huge notch on my belt, and it's really an honor to fight someone who's way up there like that.
You talked about how at the top of this division, and most divisions in the UFC, it's kind of a game of inches. Everyone is so good. Anyone can really beat everyone. So what is the difference maker for you on fight night? If it's not, my boxing is so much better than him, or I'm such a better grappler, what is that intangible that carries you to a victory?
It's maximizing advantages. The margins of being a better striker, being a better wrestler, being a better at jiu-jitsu, those margins aren't going to be too much different. What's going to be different is the advantages that you take into the fight and how you can maximize those. So me, I think I have 6 inches on Assuncao. I'm going to be much faster and I have much better footwork. So we're going to take advantage of all of those things. I always use the comparison of what type of weapon are you bringing to the gunfight. If you're bringing a weapon that's not gonna, and I'm not really a gun guy, so I don't really have the greatest comparisons.
I can't help you out either.
Yeah, but some guys are bringing weapons that don't have the same killing power, although they may be just as good of a shooter as I am. But I'm bringing in a weapon that has a lot more, I suppose, killing power.
I understand what you're getting at. I do appreciate that we have this shared knack for bad analogies.
Yeah.
But it totally makes sense what you're getting at. As we wrap up here, you talked about, should you win this fight, Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan, there's this whole conversation about an interim bantamweight title while Henry Cejudo does what Henry Cejudo does down at flyweight. You're willing it out there. What do you really think are the odds, should you beat Assuncao, that your next fight is for some sort of title?
Yeah. It's hard to say in the time of money fights right now. All I can make my case for is that there needs to be an investment in younger guys. We can't just keep continuing to like add in these really these big names with a lot of notoriety and just have them fight because that's what's going to make the most pay-per-view buys. There needs to be an investment in the younger guys, and that's my case. If they want to listen to it, they want to listen to it. That's something that I have my manager on more than anything.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, because he's the guy talking. He's the guy talking to the matchmakers. So, but that's my case.
Hey man, considering your fighting style, if there's someone who should invest money and it's you, I want to thank you for the time and best of luck.
Cool, thank you, Shaquille.